What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with a comic book equity video for Liberty Hill Comics, where I share my passion and over 40 years experience comic book collecting, investing, and conservation with you. Last episode, we started a new video series demonstrating how I hunt down, acquire, clean, press, and submit comic books for grading for fun and profit using this great Wonder Woman comic book from the Golden Age as an example. Today, we'll complete the dry cleaning and perform a spine roll reversal, and I'll show you the final results, estimate the grade, and discuss how cleaning, pressing, and submission to a third-party grader can generate an edge for you in creating comic book equity and understanding where your risks are in doing so. If that sounds like fun, stick around. In case you forgot, this is Wonder Woman number 38 from 1949. Last episode we talked about the rarity, fair market value, and my purchase price, as well as the condition of the comic book and where it might be improved. I revealed my plan to clean and press the book, send it off to CGC for grading, and send it back to the same company that I purchased it from to be sold on consignment. And I invited you to join me in the process to see if I can make any money, or if I'll break even, or even lose money on the endeavor. If you missed episode 1 and want to check it out before watching this episode, just follow the link and then head back here to see the conclusion and the before and after pictures. Alright, let's get started for the day. Of course, I have clean and dry bare hands. And after dry cleaning the exterior of this cover, I noticed the interior of the front cover has some red ink on it. I don't actually think it's ink because I looked to see if it's transfer, like if there had been an indentation, or if it's somehow ink that's bled through. I think this is actually colored pencil. So I'm just going to try to erase it with my standard Pentel Click Eraser. I don't think I'm going to be able to successfully completely remove it from the area with the black or gray tone ink, but it does seem to be coming off of these white areas nicely. So while I'm dry cleaning this, let's talk about our scheme here. And we can start by totaling up my costs. I paid $163 for this comic, and shipping and taxes brought the total to $181.50. I'm estimating my all-in costs for the vintage grading during CGC's vintage tier bulk sale to be about $30 a book. We won't know the exact final total until we get them all back from CGC. But if we use that $30 as a placeholder, it'll put my costs estimated today at about $212 when I get the book back. I won't have any shipping fee to Lone Star Comics because I'm planning to drop this one off along with some others when I'm up in the Dallas area for the Collector Summit in November, which, as you recall, I'm going to just be driving up to. Lone Star Comics consignment fee is maxed out at 10%, so our break-even point on this comic book will be about $235. Anything more than that will be profit, anything less will be a loss. Although I wasn't able to remove 100% of that colored pencil here, I'm satisfied with this result. You know, not a lot of your grade comes from the condition of the interior of the covers. 80% of your grade from CGC comes from the exterior of the covers. So I think it's time to move on to the next thing we need to do here, which is take care of this spine roll that you see. So I'm going to demonstrate how I get rid of this spine roll in a Golden Age comic. I like to remove spine roll with my tack iron. I set the tack iron to approximately 2.5, which I think is about 225 degrees Fahrenheit. I have a repurposed granite slab here. This is mostly for demonstration purposes. It allows me to hold the book and show you. Normally I do it off the edge of my work table, but I don't have good videography for that. So what I'll do is I'll set the book down with the centerfold open. and I have a magazine backer board with pre-cut crescents for the staples. This allows me to support the centerfold and also to sort of untwist the book around this backer board. It gives me something stiff to drive into the center of the book. In old comic books with spine roll, they almost always need to be untwisted in the same direction. The direction here, which is to wrap more of the material around toward the back than the front. So you're almost always working from this side here. So what I'll do is actually just apply some force to twist that book back where it ought to be, hold it down with my left hand. I'm using some silicone release paper here, or SRP, just as a buffer to help guide my tack iron over the book and so that the tack iron isn't directly on the paper there. I have pre-humidified the book before doing this. It's in my humidity chamber at 98% humidity at room temperature, at least 2 hours, but often more like overnight. And all I'm going to do is just gently glide with almost no force at all initially the tack iron back and forth. And as I get more comfortable with that location, notice I'm still keeping pressure with my thumb. I'm holding that book twisted where I want it. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to apply some heat from this side as well. And this is all that's necessary to undo this spine roll, at least temporarily. What I'm going to do once I have this book established with the spine that I want is press it immediately. And that press is my standard press, about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 15 minutes with the magazine backer board at the centerfold. I'll use a buffer sheet between the cover and the first wrap, both front and back. Depending on the book, that'll either be 60-pound cardstock or sometimes just copy paper. And then 2 magazine backer boards and 100-pound cardstock, both above and below in my press. And that's it. I'm checking to make sure that the twist is where I want it. And I'm going to give this side here a little more heat. You spend most of your time on this side. This is where you need to give the paper new memory. And now I'm using a bit more force. You'll notice I also have a sheet of SRP between the comic and the granite slab. Just an insulator and to make sure that I have a nice smooth surface. And as I said, that's it. This comic will now go directly into the press, and the next time you'll see it will be for the final pictures. Here is the final picture I took of the front cover before sending this off to CGC, and I do recommend you take an image before sending any comic off to third-party grading. I think this one is definitely improved above the 4.0 that Lone Star Comics graded it at when they sold it to me. Let's get back to the equity discussion on this Golden Age comic book. Honestly, I'm not sure how we'll do. I think we have a reasonable chance of receiving a grade between 4.5 and 5.5. Although I don't consider myself an expert grader, that's what I'm going to assume. 5.0 plus or minus half a point. But even if we knew the grade we were going to receive, the truth is, this book is too rare to determine the fair market value because it just doesn't trade hands often enough to have enough sales records to establish a fair market value. Overstreet lists the value in 5.0 as $322.50 for a raw book, and we know there's generally a premium paid for third-party authentication and graded comic, but I'm not sure what the correct asking price is. Here's the final image I took of the back cover prior to sending this book off for grading. I'll be very interested to see what the experts at Lone Star think will be a good asking price. As I noted last episode, they have 0 copies in stock, but do list 23 users as having this issue on their want list, which seems promising in our goal of creating some equity with this comic book. There is a 6.0, which I think is a stretch grade for this comic, listed on eBay for $750 plus taxes and shipping. So maybe asking about $500 depending on the grade we receive would be reasonable. If we could get that, we'd approximately double our money on this comic book, and I think that is within the realm of possibility. Here's the before and after comparison images of Patsy Lou's Wonder Woman comics number 38 from 1949. As you can see, I think the effect is subtle but noticeable, and we do have additional eye appeal, and we improved the grade of this book. How much we improved it and how much we created equity, I'm not entirely sure, but the back is definitely cleaner. There's some wrinkles, some pressable creases that we removed, and that spine roll's been removed. Those things all will definitely improve the technical grade. How much? I'm really not sure. You can speculate along with me as this 75-year-old comic book waits its turn for grading at CGC. We'll do an update in the future when we get this back and get it off to consignment. What do you think it'll grade at? What do you think it'll be worth once graded? Leave me a comment and let me know if you think my endeavor here is brilliant or a foolish scheme. I'd love to hear from you. While you're at it, hit that like button and by all means subscribe if you haven't already. And if you made it this far, then you're a true fan of this sort of content, and I want to call your attention to the 2024 YouTube Comic Book Community Awards. Creating content for YouTube is a labor of love and a way for us to connect with others that share our passion. The awards recognize the incredible amount of work that goes into creating content for YouTube and bringing it to you viewers. I'm humbled and filled with gratitude to have been recognized this year as a finalist, and I'm thrilled to be listed among these other fine channels. Please take a minute and go vote for one of us. Everyone here is doing it for the love of the community. I've put a link in the description to make it easy for you to cast your vote. And if you want more comic book conservation content, check out the live show which airs Sunday evenings at 8:35 Eastern with my co-hosts Captain Larry of Flying L Comics and Phil of Phantom Restoration. Until next time, take care of one another.